Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about how we're leveling my Kinetic Fusillade Ballista in patch 3.29. Now for this patch, we've had a spell rework, and after looking at all the changes, you might have heard some rumors from your resident speedrunner. We're still gonna play Rolling Magma from level 1 to 32, or 1 to 28, but it's just gonna be a little bit worse. And to that I say, I don't think you hate Rolling Magma enough. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Mule a Ranger to level 4 to get a volley, and I'm going to slap on the newly buffed Fireball. Fireball has intrinsically 25% chance to ignite, and it can shotgun against walls. So for example, against Merveil and against Brutus, yeah, you're just going to deal pretty good damage. And my estimation for this patch is that Rolling Magma will deal 20% less damage early on, and Fireball will deal 15% more damage on, and then it will slowly scale to 30%. The reason I don't think it's going to be 30% from the get-go is because it's also the starting skill of Witch. To give you an example of how this looks like, here I have Volley with Fireball and then also Elemental Proliferation, and you can see that even without putting down a Holy Flame Totem, it is pretty reminiscent of Rolling Magma. Now, obviously not as good, but if we look at how it will get nerfed next patch, I think this might be one of the better options right now. And if you don't want to do it, then go for Rolling Magma, but I will be trying this one out. So here's what happened to Fireball. It got 29% more damage effectiveness, which affects stuff like Goat's Horn and everything that gives you flat damage. And obviously in Act 3, when you get your flat damage craft. But after that, you're also getting 14% straight up more damage. The less crit does not affect us, and it also gets less mana cost. It gets more AoE. No idea how this is going to impact it, but at level 1, it will have an extra 0.1, so probably by level 4 or 5, another 0.1. So it will have a little bit more extra shotgun potential with the volley. In my experience, you're not really going to overlap all 3 projectiles. If the enemy is against the wall, you're usually going to have 2. But them standing against the wall is going to be pretty important. Now, I'm going to show you a quick key Brutus kill. Do you note that this is with double 3-link? Because next league, every 3-link will be a real 3-link. Usually, if you're testing right now, you're probably not going to have that. So keep that in mind. I'm washed up. Let's go. So plop down this. If you have him against the wall, you can kind of shotgun a little bit, but it's not going to be great. Now, this is with Elemental Prolif, as you can see right here. You can also sub it out. In fact, you will deal quite a bit more damage. But as you can see, it's pretty decent even before the buffs. It is at least doable. Yeah, my keybind is the opposite, but whatever. So you can see it's already decent. Depending on the buff, gonna be better. And if you're running around with Rolling Magma right now, I would not be surprised if it is nerfed by as much as like 20%. The question I get a lot is, why don't you just level with Kinetic Bolt? All the witches are doing it. The problem is witches have percentage spell damage, which gets doubled for Kinetic Bolt, as you can see right here. Increase and reductions to spell damage also apply to attack damage. On this build, not so much. The advantage that Templar does have, though, is that the early damage is elemental damage and increased damage, which also scales your ignite. So you really want to do something fire-esque, in my opinion. Also, you obviously have the fire mastery right over there. And the fire mastery is really something that bothers me, because I looked through a lot of these spells, especially the early game ones, and a lot of them just fall short because at some point you're going to get fire mastery. Obviously, that is only going to happen at later levels in Act 2, but still. The fire skills, especially because they can ignite, and ignite is such a big part of your damage, are just kind of superior. The only other thing you could do is Blazing Salvo, but that one has tiny ignites, so maybe not the best idea. Now, in order to get Volley on a Templar, we need to get a Ranger Mule, which we would make anyways for momentum support, but usually we stop at level 2. In this case, we just stop at level 4, which just means you have to go through mud flats, go back to town. In order to do that, you're going to be using Galvanic Arrow, and that's about it. You get momentum into your stash, and you get the volley into your stash. And yeah, then we're here at the leveling guide. Fireball, level 1. First, you're going to use Arcane Surge because volley is level 4, and Elemental Prolif is also behind the Medicine Chest quest. On that note, I can remind you that you can technically have 2 Quicksilver Flasks because you are going by Tidal Islands anyways. So on your Ranger run, That's also nice to have if you have an extra minute or so. So Ele, Prolif, Volley, and Fireball. If you want to, on single target, you can swap out the Elemental Prolif for Arcane Surge. You still, even without Elemental Prolif, have 25% chance to ignite. So you're still going to ignite, and you don't really need much more. You just keep casting. So Arcane Surge would be more damage. The usual Holy Flame Totem setup, I really like Summon Phantasm up to end of Act 1. Combustion, which is actually the most important one. I'm going to redo this so nobody is going to forget about that. Remember that now you don't have Combustion on your Fireball anymore because you need to use the Volley support. So it's going to be Combustion, and then later on as your 3-link, you're going to get Infused Channeling, and then as your 4-link, you're going to go faster casting. Reason is Summon Phantasm kind of starts falling off at the end of Act 1. As always, you put down your Flame Wall. You want Arcane Surge on it. It's on none of your main skills, so that's important. Do not level it up. I'm actually going to put this to 1. Usually I don't like fiddle around with this, but just so you remember. Shield Charge, Momentum, Faster Attacks. We are going to have all the 3 links in the world now after the changes, so it's going to be this setup. All of these are going to have 3 links, and then 4 links eventually. If you want a 4-link here, I guess I can also put in Life Tap, but whatever. Frostblink, very nice with Shield Charge. Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ice, the usual. Clarity, then Wave of Conviction in Act 2. And yeah, this one was from the showcase earlier. During this stage, all you're going to do is pick up all the starting area as per usual. And then in Act 2, you're going to grab the Fire Mastery into Ele Overload. All you're really looking for is +1 to level of fire skills. That would be the optimal. I mean, this would be the optimal leveling weapon imaginable. +1. Flat damage, fire skills, your ignite. So that's super nice. Everything else is good as well. Now, when you get to Act 3, before you respec into Kinetic Fusillade, you can see right here, we're going to have a 4-link Fireball, Volley, Ele, Prolif, and now you also get Combustion. So your ignites are going to be very, very consistent. And now you also have Combustion on your main links. Holy Flame Totem, we're going to add the faster casting. The added fire was because of easier links, but nowadays we are going to go for the channeling support, Infused Channeling. So there you go. Herald of Ash, Purity of Elements, pretty straightforward. Purity of Elements, as always, if you know what you're doing, you can also go Haste. You will have to get Dexterity anyways for Volley. So that is that. Elemental Weakness, pretty self-explanatory. Flame Wall, at this point, we will have to put the Arcane Surge on the Flame Wall. Shield Charge, Momentum, Faster Attacks, and then Frostblink. Also, make sure you take the Dexterity so you can keep leveling up your supports. At level 3, which you might not need if you get a Jade Amulet, but yeah, if you need it, you need it. You will need it at Kinetic Fusillade later. Act 3, this is the rest of, before you respec, basically, before you get your first lab. And here, Cruel Prep, Deep Thoughts, and also Firewalker. If you don't need the extra life, if you feel safe, you can also take some more damage. Nothing really changed in terms of itemization. There is no flat damage on jewelry right here. The only thing you can do in Act 3 is obviously have a fire damage to spells craft right here once you get the recipe. And on your shield, nothing really changes. In terms of the passive tree, this is going to be as far as we get before we respec into Kinetic Fusillade. Now, really important here, gems from Siosa in Act 3, library, as per usual. Once you do the quest, this is the shopping list. Less duration, Kinetic Fusillade, Ballista support, and Frenzy. Buy them and level them before you respec. If you want to, you can do it later. It doesn't really matter, but you need some levels on it. Otherwise, your ballistas are just going to die. If you have to, go into Act 4 and with the fire spell setup, level it in Aqueducts for a little bit. If you forgot. Otherwise, you should be picking it up before you even do Dominus. Put it in your offhand and level it. It should have some levels. Otherwise, it's gonna be rough and feel really bad. Now, next you need to respec with gold from this caster version to Kinetic Fusillade. And this is how it's going to look like. You're probably gonna need some strength or dex. This depends on your gear, so you can use it or not. You want to be at this wand cluster right here. And you want to take the top side. One of the nerfs of Kinetic Fusillade is that it has less attack speed now. So in order for it to feel good, even though this will be slightly more damage because of the pen, the attack speed will feel a lot better. And also the accuracy will come in handy once fire and additional projectile. Huge. And you want to take Ancestral Bond ASAP as well. The Fire Mastery you want to keep, but you want to respec into the left side here. And boom. And as you can see, that is how you keep it because cast speed doesn't really do anything. And that's about that. Skills really important here. Once you get to A3 after respec, you need at least a 4-link. Kinetic Fusillade, Ballista Totem, less duration, and greater volley. Now this will be at the start. When you respec, it will be volley, and then it will become greater volley. So just so you're aware. You can also respec at level 38, by the way, if you're fine with caster leveling. I was just like ASAP. Your 5-link you will get in Act 6 on the quest with Lily, and there you will get the faster attacks in. The reason we go faster attacks instead of other options, once again, is because we have less attack speed than last patch, and I want it to feel good. If it ends up feeling good anyways, then you can also replace this with something like elemental damage with attacks, but I can't currently test that out. Now, one of the biggest things about not having to get reduced duration here in the middle, which we had to do last patch, is that your skills are actually up. So you can get an Arcanist brand with Flame Wall, Elemental Weakness, and Tornado, and guess what? They will actually be up. And this Arcanist brand setup is really important against bosses and whatnot, and this is how it looks like. So you put it on an enemy, and it will cast the Curse, it will cast the Flame Wall, and then it will cast the Tornado, and meanwhile, your Ballistas are hammering away. And your accuracy is going to be a bit of a thing, so you need to level up precision as much as you can, and you need to take all the accuracy along the way, like for example here, but you're going to get more later up top, and there's also a Mastery in a second. So in Act 4, you're going to progress over here, and you're going to take the Int, gives you increased accuracy. At this point, it should not really play as much of a role anymore. You're also getting a lot more attack speed. After that, in Act 5, you will be, or I will be at least, getting a little bit of life because Act 5 gets a little bit rougher, so I will be pathing through here. I'll be taking Primal Manifestation, and yeah, everything else was already there. I do also take these extra Wand Damage and LE Pen nodes. In Act 6, I then take a little bit more life with Cruel Prep, Prodigal Perfection, and the increased Mana Reservation Mastery, because I'm already prepping for Purity of Elements, as we talked about. And once you have this, now you can fit in the second 50% aura. In Act 8, the next thing you'll do is Spiritual Command. Once again, attack speed is king. This one gives you a total of 16% attack speed for 3 nodes. So there you go. This Mastery right here, as per usual. And you can see right here, we're pathing up top to Fusillade as well. More attack speed, more accuracy, good stuff. The only thing that changes through Act 9 and Act 10 is, well, we're just filling in stuff. Apparently, I forgot this one node right here, which is cute. And we're filling out Arcane Sanctuary. Kinetic Fusillade scales really well with increased spell damage, and we're already setting up for spell block. And then in Act 10, you just go down here, take Arcanist, Dominion, Heart and Soul, and there you go. Now, the next important part is the Crit Respec. Most importantly, Respec Elemental Overload. You're now going to go crit. So if you have Elemental Overload, that is bad. You also want to start looking for a wand with crit now. So I'll show you that. Here in early maps, you can see this is a wand where I threw on a Screaming Essence of Anger. It hit a little bit of flat, and then I crafted on Critical Strike Chance. You do actually want attack speed now on your wand, which is quite strong, which you couldn't use before, but on this patch you can. And you can see we're cutting all this middle area, and we're now pathing through here, which is a little bit nicer for attributes. You get a Dex node here, a Strength node here. And what are we changing? So we're actually taking the elemental resistance nodes on totems now, because in maps otherwise it's kind of annoying to keep up. Also your choice though. Shaman's Dominion, this one gets slightly nerfed next patch. Still an extremely good cluster. And then we're taking Disciple of the Forbidden with the Charge Mastery. To make a little bit of sense why we're going crit exactly at this point, we have to look at the Ascendancy progression. So in Act 3, you need your lab in order to respec into Kinetic Fusillade. Otherwise, you don't have the totem placement speed. Super important. +1 totem, just very strong, right? Then in Act 7, you will get your second Ascendancy, Ritual of Awakening. Now your mana is fixed. Regen is pretty cozy, a little bit of extra damage. This one got slightly nerfed next patch. And then in Act 10 is exactly the point where we will grab Conviction of Power, which gives us 200% crit through power charges. Now, huge tip for leveling. Get yourself either a Dodoris Tenure or a Prism Weave as early as possible. These are ridiculous. Prism Weave will literally double your damage or more, depending on how shit your wand is especially. And Dodoris Tenure is 150% increased attack damage with Kinetic Fusillade. These are both ridiculous. however many first Chaos Orbs you find, throw them in there ASAP. You can see I'm even using them in early maps and up to red maps and until a lot later. And that's about all I got. Now, if you want to do a test run, I want to remind you that Kinetic Fusillade got changed significantly this patch. The duration is different, so if you pick up any attack speed, you will actually break the build. Next patch, that is gone. So you cannot just take this POV and test it this patch, which is also why I didn't put any footage in the background, because it would be from last patch when the skill was still a little bit stronger, but clunkier, right? So this patch, no thinking about reduced duration, but if you test it right now, it's going to go really badly and you can't really do it. So there you go. That's all I got for leveling. I'm pretty stoked for League Start now. I want to see what the league mechanic is, especially after looking at it and the Ziggy D video, which was pretty cool. Pretty sure I'm still going to release one more video, yeah. See you guys on League Start over on twitch.tv/Palsteron if you want to follow along. There will be updates from day 1 to day 3. And with that being said, since I still don't have a slogan, see you next time.